thank you for burying me alive.
In the subtle shadows of a Parisian afternoon, Thérèse found herself caught in a delicate dance of passion and constraint. Her lover's fingers traced hidden landscapes beneath her dress, a clandestine symphony of desire playing out mere inches from her unsuspecting aunt's knowing hands. The story of Thérèse was not merely a tale of forbidden longing, but a profound exploration of a woman imprisoned by the rigid social conventions of 19th-century France. Born to a sea captain perpetually wandering African shores and a mother claimed too soon by fate's merciful embrace, Thérèse was entrusted to the care of her aunt, Madame Raquin, a woman whose love was as suffocating as it was genuine. Camille, her sickly cousin turned reluctant husband, represented everything Thérèse was not. Where he was weak and pale, she burned with an inner fire that threatened to consume her very essence. Their marriage was not a union of passion, but a pragmatic arrangement born of necessity and societal expectations. The whispers of desire first awakened in Thérèse when she heard a farmer's rhythmic scythe cutting through summer grass. His muscular form became a catalyst, igniting a flame of longing that had been carefully suppressed beneath layers of propriety and familial obligation. An electric current of unfulfilled desire coursed through her veins, making her acutely aware of the chasm between her internal tempest and her external stillness. When her father's death severed her last tenuous connection to financial independence, Thérèse found herself trapped. Marriage to Camille was not a choice, but a survival strategy. Her body might have been present, but her spirit remained restless, searching, burning with an intensity that threatened to shatter the fragile porcelain of her prescribed life. Paris became both her prison and her potential liberation. Nestled within the labyrinthine arteries of Paris, their dwelling existed as a metaphorical extension of Thérèse's suffocating existence. A narrow, lightless space that seemed to breathe with the same oppressive melancholy that defined her marriage. The walls, damp and whispering with unspoken tensions, mirrored the stark emotional terrain of a woman whose passionate spirit was slowly calcifying under the weight of societal expectations. Camille, perpetually caught between childhood and a stunted adulthood, drifted through life with the fragility of a watercolor painting left out in the rain. His workplace became another arena of silent humiliation, where his weakness was a constant mocking companion. The zoo became his sanctuary, a place where his stunted emotional growth could wander freely, unencumbered by the complex dynamics of human interaction. Then entered Laurent, a force of nature disguised as a man. With an artist's perceptive gaze and a provocateur's tongue, he brought a dangerous electricity into their mundane existence. His portrait of Camille was less a representation and more a brutal psychological dissection, revealing inner landscapes most would prefer remained hidden. That Camille loved this unflinching portrayal spoke volumes about his own self-perception. But Laurent saw beyond Camille. In Thérèse, he recognized a kindred spirit, a woman whose internal fires were being suffocated by the damp cloth of conventional marriage. Their connection transcended mere physical attraction. It was a dangerous alchemy of suppressed desires, intellectual resonance, and a shared understanding of life's profound disappointments. Their affair became not just a physical escape, but a psychological liberation. Thérèse's eyes, once dulled by resignation, now sparked with an almost dangerous luminescence. Each stolen moment with Laurent was a rebellion against the suffocating narrative that had been prescribed for her. When Camille announced his intention to retreat to the countryside, sensing his own physical deterioration, Thérèse found herself at a precipice. Laurent's suggestion of eliminating Camille was both horrifying and seductive, a testament to how completely he had invaded her psychological landscape. In that moment of Laurent's proposition, Thérèse hovered between moral terror and passionate surrender, neither agreeing nor refusing, but existing in that charged liminal space where desire and destruction dance their most intimate waltz. Camille's unexpected moment of tenderness, a single flower offered with unprecedented romance, felt like a cruel mockery, a final haunting gesture before fate's dark machinery would grind inexorably forward. The picnic, that seemingly innocent afternoon, became a tableau of impending tragedy. Laurent's jealousy simmered beneath a veneer of civility, his murderous intent taking root with each passing moment. The lake waited, silent and patient, a potential grave disguised as a tranquil landscape. When Camille suggested the boat ride, Thérèse found herself suspended between moral horror and passionate surrender. Her internal struggle was a tempestuous battlefield where love battled conscience, where desire clashed with human decency. In that moment of decision, something fundamental shattered within her. The urge to preserve her connection with Laurent obliterated her last vestiges of moral restraint. Love, or what she believed was love, had become a force more powerful than life itself. The capsizing was both sudden and meticulously orchestrated, a cacophony of desperate splashes, a brief struggle, and then silence. Only Laurent and Thérèse remained, their survival a testament to their dark conspiracy. The aftermath was a psychological maelstrom. Madame Raquin's grief was a raw, primal force that threatened to consume everything in its path. Her accusations struck Thérèse like physical blows, each word a knife twisting in her already wounded conscience. The discovery of Camille's decomposing body became a moment of reckoning. Laurent physically sickened, Thérèse mentally unraveling. Their freedom, so desperately sought, arrived wrapped in a shroud of unbearable guilt. The passionate connection that had driven them to murder now became a prison of psychological torment. Thérèse's nights were haunted by spectral replays of their crime. The lake, the boat, the moment of no return constantly reassembling themselves in her fractured dreams. She had traded her entire moral universe for a love that now felt like a curse, transforming from a passionate rebellion into an exquisite form of self-destruction. The passionate connection that had once burned with such fierce intensity now smoldered beneath a suffocating layer of guilt and mutual recrimination. Thérèse and Laurent found themselves trapped in a psychological prison of their own making, their love metamorphosing into a grotesque parody of the desire that had once consumed them. Raquin's decision to unite them in marriage seemed a cruel irony, a blessing that felt more like a curse. The store, the assets, the entire fabric of their shared life was now woven with threads of unspoken horror. Camille's portrait became a silent witness, its eyes seemingly following them through every moment of their increasingly fractured existence. Laurent's neck bore a physical testament to their crime, a jagged scar from Camille's final desperate struggle, a permanent reminder of the moment they had crossed an irreversible threshold. Thérèse found herself haunted by spectral memories. The lake's surface, Laurent's raised oar, Camille's final moments replaying with horrifying clarity. Their relationship disintegrated under the weight of their shared transgression. Arguments erupted like festering wounds, each blaming the other for Camille's murder. Thérèse would occasionally break into terrifying fugue states, blurting out fragments of their murderous conspiracy, her mind unable to contain the psychological pressure. Raquin's mental deterioration became a parallel narrative of suffering. Bedridden and partially paralyzed, she existed in a liminal space between life and death, her grief manifesting as haunting visions of her lost son. The couple became her reluctant caretakers, each moment of service a silent penance for their unforgivable act. Laurent's artistic ambitions withered, crushed beneath the weight of their shared guilt. Their dream of passionate freedom had transformed into a suffocating existence of constant surveillance and internal torment. Thérèse became increasingly neurotic, her psyche fragmenting under the relentless pressure of their shared secret. The moment of ultimate revelation approached with the inexorable certainty of Greek tragedy. Raquin, though paralyzed, possessed one final weapon, her ability to expose their most terrible truth. With her weak hand trembling, she prepared to write the words that would shatter their carefully constructed facade. The universe conspired to unravel their carefully constructed facade with a delicate yet devastating precision. Raquin's partially written accusation hung in the air like a spectral condemnation, her trembling hand capturing just enough to set irreversible events into motion. Thérèse's internal landscape had long since become a battlefield of conflicting emotions. Her resentment toward Raquin, the architect of her predetermined life, had metamorphosed into a complex tapestry of blame and self-loathing. Each manipulation of her destiny had been a thread in the suffocating tapestry of her existence, driving her toward increasingly desperate measures of psychological escape. The descent into hedonistic oblivion became her temporary sanctuary. Orgies and drunken stupors offered momentary reprieve from the relentless guilt that gnawed at her soul. Laurent, once her passionate co-conspirator, now represented everything she despised, a living reminder of their shared transgression. Their relationship, once fueled by forbidden desire, had corroded into a toxic landscape of mutual recrimination. Each glance was a silent accusation, each touch a reminder of their unforgivable act. The murder of Camille had become a festering wound that no amount of time could heal. The moment of final revelation arrived with a terrible clarity. Raquin's friend, witnessing the fragmented accusation, became the unexpected instrument of their destruction. The police, that implacable force of societal judgment, would soon arrive to deliver their ultimate verdict. In those final moments, something profound shifted within Thérèse. The anger, the resentment, the blame, all dissolved into a pure, devastating sense of guilt. Raquin was no longer the villain but a victim, and Thérèse's need for redemption became absolute. By the banks of the Seine, that timeless witness to Paris's most profound human dramas, Thérèse and Laurent prepared for their final act. A knife, poison, the tools of their ultimate surrender. Their love, which had driven them to murder, would now guide them to a shared departure from a world that could no longer contain their transgressions. In these last moments, they found a terrible intimacy, not of passion, but of shared fate, not of love, but of mutual understanding. They would exit the stage of life together as they had entered their most significant moments, united in their complexity, their sin, their humanity. In those ultimate moments of shared mortality, Thérèse and Laurent discovered a rare and devastating honesty. Their final communion was not of passion, but of profound understanding, a recognition of the intricate psychological labyrinth that had led them to this precise moment by the Seine. Their story, as Zola so brilliantly conceptualized, was never merely about individual characters, but a complex psychological experiment exploring the depths of human temperament. As they breathed their last by the Seine, they understood a profound truth. Happiness cannot emerge from a foundation of moral compromise. Their lives had become a testament to the psychological debt that must eventually be paid. Death, in its ultimate neutrality, would erase their individual narratives, reducing their complex human experience to a mere whisper of remembered passion.